New Gemini CLI updates are insane. You've been using Gemini CLI wrong this whole time. Every developer knows it. You fire up an AI tool, you paste context, you wait, you realize the AI missed something critical, you paste more context, and the cycle repeats. Your terminal AI should work for you, not the other way around. I told you, Gemini just transformed from a simple assistant into something that actually understands your workflow. Hey, I'm Julian. I help people learn and implement AI tools that actually work. And today I'm breaking down the Gemini CLI update, changing everything. Version 0.26 just dropped. And honestly, it's not even the same tool anymore. Let me show you what just happened. Gemini CLI into an expert on demand. First up, agent skills. This is the feature that changes everything about how Gemini CLI operates. Think about your workflow right now. You have deployment scripts, security standards, code review checklists, testing procedures. All of this lives somewhere in docs in your head, in that one file nobody can find. Every time you need Gemini's help, you're explaining your process from scratch. Skills fix this permanently. A skill is just a folder with a file called skill.md. You write exactly what the skill does, your deployment process, your security checklist, your team's coding standards. When you ask Gemini to do something, it pulls in only the skills it needs. Automatically, you don't tell it which skill to use, it figures that out based on your request. Let's say you have a deployment skill with your exact deployment process. Next time you say deploy this app, Gemini activates that skill, reads all your deployment docs, follows your exact process, no guessing. The built-in skill creator makes this even better. Ask Gemini to create a skill based on what you're doing. It analyzes your request, generates the skill structure, saves it for future use. There are three types of skills: workspace skills that live in your project, user skills that work across all your projects, and extension skills that come bundled with installed extensions. The security is smart. When Gemini activates a skill for the first time, you see a consent prompt showing the skill name, description, and directory path. Skills only access their own directory, nothing else. You can share skills with your team, put them in your projects.gemini/skills folder, commit to version control. Everyone now has the same expert knowledge. No more explaining your deployment process to every new team member. The knowledge lives in the skill. Hooks give you total control over the AI loop. Now let me show you hooks. This feature is wild. Hooks let you run custom code at specific points in Gemini CLI's lifecycle. Before the AI processes your request, after it picks a tool, when it finishes, you intercept these moments and inject your own logic. Add project context automatically, enforce security policies, run tests after code changes, block certain operations. Here's a real example. We want to prevent Gemini from accidentally committing API keys. Write a hook that runs before any file it scans the content, checks for secret. If it finds something suspicious, it blocks and explains why. The sees that message, adjusts, tries again without the secret. No manual intervention needed. The extension uses hooks brilliantly. It intercepts the completion signal with an after agent hook, forces Gemini back into the loop, keeps working until the task is done, transforms Gemini from a reactive assistant into something that persists on difficult problems. Hooks run synchronously. When a hook event fires, Gemini CLI waits for your hook to complete before continuing. You can set up hooks at three levels: user level, project level, extension level. The security model is clear. Hooks execute with your user privileges. They can run any code. Gemini CLI warns you the first time it detects a new project hook. Review the code before trusting hooks from projects you don't know. Common use cases: adding git commit context before each request, running linters after code edits, blocking operations in production, logging tool executions for audits. Hooks work in combination with skill. A skill defines your security policy. Hooks enforce it at runtime. Rewind lets you undo AI mistakes instantly. Here's the feature that gives you confidence to let Gemini make bold changes. Rewind. Gemini just modified 10 files. Something's not right. Now you're manually reverting edits, trying to remember what was there before. Rewind fixes this. Press escape twice or type/rewind. You get an interactive interface showing every point in your conversation, every file change. Pick where you want to go back to. Rewind just the conversation, revert just the file changes, do both, or cancel. You see exactly what will change, how many files, how many lines, confirm. Everything reverts instantly. The conversation history updates, the files go back like the changes never happened. This only affects changes made by Gemini's editing tools, not your manual edits, not shell commands, just the AI's file modifications. You can experiment freely, try a big refactor. Don't like it, rewind, try differently. No permanent damage. The AI loses memory of removed interactions when you rewind. Rewind operations can't be undone. Review before you confirm. Every conversation is automatically recorded. Browse previous sessions. Resume from any point, even after closing Gemini CLI. Sessions are project specific, stored based on your project path hash, keeps conversations separate between projects. Now, the security updates. Folder trust is now the default. Open Gemini CLI in a new folder. You see a trust dialog, trust this folder, trust the parent folder, or don't trust it, trust a folder. Gemini gets full capabilities, loads workspace settings, connects to MCP servers, runs custom commands, don't trust it. Gemini runs in restricted safe mode, ignores workspace settings, blocks extension management, forces approval for every tool. This protects you when you clone random repos. You don't know what's in that .gemini/settings file. Folder trust blocks it by default. Your trust decisions save to a central file. You only get asked once per folder. Change trust at any time with /permissions. Security consent prompts work with skills. When a skill activates, you see what it wants access to, approve or deny. Hooks have mandatory security warnings. Installing an extension with hooks requires explicit approval. The policy engine lets you save always allow decisions for specific shell commands or tool executions. You control the granularity. Why this update changes everything. Let me tie this together. Before this update, Gemini CLI was a smart assistant. You asked, it answered. You told it to change things, it did. But you were always in manual mode, explaining context, guiding decisions. Now it's an agent platform. Skills give specialized knowledge. Hooks let you control the loop. Rewind gives you confidence to experiment. Security protects you from malicious configurations. This isn't just feature updates, it's a fundamental shift in what the tool can do. You're building a system that understands your workflow, follows your rules, works independently, stays secure. The skills I've built save me hours every week. Code reviews follow our exact checklist. Security policies enforce themselves. And when something goes wrong, escape twice. Back to the last good state. Getting started with the new features update to version 0.26 or later. Run install -g at Google/Gemini- for skills, enable experimental.skills in /setting. Search for skills, toggle it on, create one skill for something you do regularly, put it in .gemini/skills, write a clear description. For hooks, enable them in settings JSON, add experimental.hooks.enabled set to true. Create a simple hook first, maybe one that logs tool executions, then build more complex ones. For rewind, nothing to configure. Press escape twice when you want to undo changes. For folder trust, it's automatic. Next time you open Gemini CLI in a new folder, you'll see the trust dialog. Skills define knowledge, hooks enforce behavior, rewind provides safety, security keeps you protected. Build your skills library over time. Start with repetitive tasks where consistency matters. Use hooks to automate checks you forget. Validations you skip when you're in a hurry. Rely on rewind to experiment freely. Try big refactors, you can always go back. This is Gemini CLI transformed into an agent platform, not just an AI assistant, an actual system that works with your process, learns your standards, executes independently. The update just dropped. Go try it, build your first skill, set up a hook, use rewind on your next change. That's it for this one. If this helped, drop a like. Subscribe for more AI tool breakdowns that actually show you how to implement these updates. And I'll see you in the next one.